Hello, my motor enthusiasts. It's time to rev up those engines and dive into some exciting Formula One chatter. You're tuned in to F1 Motor Fever podcast.
Greetings, Enzo. Today's topic is quite intriguing, isn't it?
Quite so. We'll be examining the recent departure of Guenther Steiner from the Haas Formula One team, along with some reflections on their tough season.
Steiner's exit was a surprising news, wasn't it?
Indeed, it appears his contract wasn't renewed for 2023, but he doesn't seem bitter about the situation.
Sounds like a gentleman's departure. And the team's performance in the previous season?
It was a challenging year for them, with tires overheating and struggles to defend high grid positions. Changes were evidently needed.
And it appears a late-season switch in their car's concept didn't exactly turn things around, did it?
Unfortunately not. Steiner even suggested a lack of investment in infrastructure and resources as one of the reasons for the team's struggles.
Interesting. And the Ferrari engine saga in 2019 seems to have played a role too.
Precisely. They didn't have access to the same engine specification as the factory unit, which clearly affected their performance.
And the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, it had a major impact. There was even talk of shutting the team down in 2020.
A difficult decision indeed. But look at him now, ready and eager for new opportunities.
Absolutely. He's taking some time to breathe, and we're looking forward to seeing where he'll go next.
Blimey, sounds like we've got a thrilling discussion ahead, eh?
Cheers, everyone. It's your host Enzo Watts here, ready to navigate through the thrilling world of Formula One.
And alongside him, as always, is yours truly, William Turner.
We're thrilled to have you join us on F1 Motor Fever podcast. If you're enjoying these conversations, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Your support means the world to us. Full throttle, let's dive right in. The news of Steiner's departure from Haas came as a bit of a surprise. It appears the decision was conveyed to him just between Christmas and New Year's in an unexpected phone call, according to his interview with motorsport.com.
Yes, it's not the ideal way to kick off the new year, is it? But it seems Steiner took it in stride, saying, "The contract was up, and for me, it's always been, if it doesn't work out, just let me know."
Quite the composed reaction. But moving forward, he also shared how the team's performance was viewed under a different light by team owner Gene Haas.
That's right. The poor results were cited as a major reason for not renewing Steiner's contract. It makes me reminisce about my own childhood. I remember when I was a kid, I was part of a football team. We weren't doing very well in the league, and our coach was let go. It was a tough pill to swallow at the time, but looking back, I realize it was a necessary decision for the team's progress.
A harsh reality of professional sports, isn't it? But these situations often lead to growth and better opportunities. Steiner's calm approach to his departure from Haas is noteworthy. He's reaffirmed that Gene Haas, being the team owner, has the full right to make decisions for the team, and he respects that. He's not in any rush for his next venture either.
Quite a composed man, isn't he? But this non-compete clause mentioned, what's that about?
It's a common clause in many professional contracts in the motorsports world. It prohibits a departing individual from joining a rival team or starting a competing venture for a certain period. But it's worth noting that neither party has confirmed this in regard to Steiner's situation.
Interesting. Do you think it could, hypothetically, prevent him from immediately joining, say, Red Bull, if they were to offer him a position?
It certainly could. In fact, when asked if he could accept an offer from Red Bull if they were to approach him this week, Steiner's answer was a firm no.
I see. On another note, the performance of Haas in the year of 2023 was quite disheartening. The VF23 car had overheating issues, which left Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen generally unable to defend their high grid positions. Do you think these problems played a key role in Steiner's departure?
It's highly likely. Poor results can often trigger changes in team management. Haas's disastrous 2023 season where they struggled with tire overheating issues, likely didn't help Steiner's case.
Makes sense. And what about the late switch to Red Bull's downwash side pod concept? Could that have been a factor too?
It's possible. The team were late to adopt the downwash side pod concept pioneered by Red Bull, which could have contributed to their poor performance. All these factors were likely considered when the call was made. It seems the unsuccessful updates to the VF23 during the latter stages of the 2023 season were a significant aspect of Steiner's departure. Despite their efforts with the side pod changes and other alterations, Haas's performance level didn't improve much. Steiner himself admitted, "I think it was very clear that if you do something, a concept change as quick as we did, it's very hard to make a big leap." What do you make of this?
It's a complex situation indeed. When a team is struggling, it's tempting to try and make rapid changes to turn things around. But as Steiner noted, a major concept change mid-season is a risky maneuver and can cause more harm than good, particularly with underlying design elements that can't be altered at such a late stage.
The failed updates, as Steiner put it, were also a learning curve for the technical team, providing them with insights for the 2024 season. However, sources suggest that Steiner's decision-making delays regarding Haas's development plan for the 2023 season led to these alterations arriving late in the season.
Delays in deciding the development trajectory can indeed be detrimental, especially in a sport as fast-paced as Formula One. A decision delayed is often a decision denied, and in this case, it might have cost Haas the season and Steiner his position.
Very true. So the $20 million prize money that Haas received for finishing 10th was seen by Gene Haas as a catalyst for the change in upper management. How do you take this?
It's not often that a cash prize results in a shake-up in the team's management. However, considering the disappointing season Haas had, perhaps the prize money was a stark reminder of their underperformance, prompting a change in leadership. All in all, it's a rather unfortunate series of events for Steiner.
Looking back, Steiner regrets the late change to the car's design. He admits that, in hindsight, it was obvious they should have made the changes to the car earlier. He also hints at a lack of continued investment from Haas undermining his motivation. What's your take on this?
It's a tough spot to be in. It sounds like a classic case of hindsight being 20/20. Unfortunately, in a sport as fast-paced as Formula One, there's little room for such delays. As for the investment issue, it's a common challenge in the sport, but it becomes all the more critical when you're aiming for a turnaround.
Right. Steiner wished for more resources to be devoted to improving the team's core infrastructure. In contrast, Haas couldn't gain efficiency like other teams because they paid for many parts already developed by Ferrari.
That's a tricky situation. It's clear that these differences in perspectives about the team's future requirements may have been a contributing factor to their parting ways. It's an unfortunate reality in such a competitive sport.
Definitely. Steiner's careful response when asked if he wanted to continue as a team leader was also intriguing. It seems like there was a lot more going on behind the scenes than we might be aware of.
Indeed. These situations always have multiple layers. It points to the complexities of managing a Formula One team and the subtleties involved in decision-making at the highest level of the sport.
Continuing on this, Steiner elaborates on his time at Haas, stating, "Never have I been in a company for as long as I have been at Haas. Think about that. At some point, the long-term future is considered." He mentions the struggle of staying motivated while observing other teams like AlphaTauri and Aston Martin advance. What's your take on this?
It must be frustrating to see other teams advancing while feeling like you're stuck in the same place. But that's the nature of competitive sports. Not everyone progresses at the same rate. The key is to keep refining your strategies and looking for opportunities to improve.
Steiner also commented on the effect the budget cap had on Formula One. He said that it changed the game, and people's reactions were like, "You need to think different. You need to invest in your infrastructure to get the most out of your operating budget." Would you agree with this sentiment?
Absolutely. The introduction of the budget cap has indeed caused a shift in the way teams operate. It has brought more emphasis on efficiency and strategic investment. Teams cannot merely throw money at problems anymore. They need to be smarter with their resources.
It seems that Steiner has no hard feelings towards Gene Haas, stating that, "I wouldn't say I fell out with Gene. I don't fall out. I don't need to fall out with anyone. As he owns the place, he can decide whatever he wants. I can't fall out with him. I can be upset, but I'm not upset at all. The decision is his, and he can do what he wants."
It's a very mature perspective. Ultimately, the owner has the final say, and it's important to respect that. It's reassuring to see that despite the decisions and changes, there appears to be no ill will between them.
Gene Haas highlighted the team's lack of podium results as part of his deliberations about Steiner's future. Steiner, on the other hand, pointed to the team's early successes and the Ferrari engine saga of 2019 as factors in the team's performance. He stated, "When we started, finishing in 8th place in the first and second seasons for a new team that had never happened before. Finishing in 5th place in the third season didn't happen many times before."
That's an interesting point. It's so easy to overlook past successes when faced with current challenges. And it's worth noting that the early years of a Formula One team are often the most challenging.
Steiner also pointed out that the Ferrari engine saga didn't just affect Haas, but also Ferrari's other client, Alfa Romeo. He mentioned, "Was it Haas's best car ever? No. But was it worth 9th place? No. Alfa Romeo finished in 8th that year."
That was indeed a challenging time for all teams involved. The impact of the Ferrari engine saga had a ripple effect across the grid, not just within Ferrari.
Steiner also lamented the interruption of the 2020 season and the near closure of Haas, saying these caused significant damage to the team.
It was a difficult period for all teams, but particularly for those teams already struggling with performance issues. It's clear that the pandemic exacerbated existing problems and presented new ones that the teams were not prepared for.
So looking back at the journey of Haas and Steiner thus far, it's clear that the team faced a number of hurdles, from the Ferrari engine saga to the impact of the pandemic. What do you make of it all?
It's a testament to the volatility and unpredictability of this sport. Every decision, every event can have rippling consequences. And as Steiner said, when you're forced to shut down, it's almost easier to start completely new than half new. The legacy remains, but half the people are missing. It's a tough situation for any team to be in.
Indeed. Steiner also pointed out that the impacts of 2020 led to the 2021 Haas car not being developed for a whole year. This, coupled with a completely new team including Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin, must have been quite a challenge.
Absolutely. Every team had to face their own set of challenges with the pandemic, but for Haas, it clearly hit hard. Not being able to develop the car for an entire year is a significant setback, especially when you're trying to compete with teams that never stopped pushing forward.
And even though they lost a bit of momentum in 2023, Steiner mentions that they managed to finish in 8th place again in 2022 under the guidance of Simone Resta, a commendable effort considering the circumstances.
It highlights the resilience of the team and the leadership of Simone Resta. In a sport as competitive as Formula One, bouncing back from setbacks is incredibly important, and it's clear that Haas has that ability. It'll be interesting to see how they continue to evolve.
Steiner goes on to reflect on the enormous effort and investment involved in rebuilding a team. And while other teams began developing their infrastructure in 2021 and 2022, Haas did not. That's a significant disadvantage in this high-stakes sport.
Rebuilding a team from scratch is indeed a gargantuan task. Not only does it require significant financial investment, but also time, energy, and a lot of patience. What's important here is the fact that despite the setbacks, the team didn't stop.
Steiner makes a poignant remark saying, "You don't become stupid in a year." He's right, it's easy to forget the circumstances and challenges that teams face, which in turn shapes their journey in the sport.
Absolutely. Behind every team's performance, there's a complex tapestry of decisions, circumstances, and events. It's important to consider these factors before passing judgment.
When asked about the future of Haas in Formula One, Steiner admits to having no idea and that it doesn't depend on him. He's unsure about the team's future plans and what Gene Haas might decide in terms of further investment.
Uncertainty is part of the sport, but this seems more than just uncertainty. It's clear that the future of Haas hangs in the balance, and only time will tell which direction it will take.
Now for a bit of trivia. Did you know that Guenther Steiner has a rather unique history in motorsports? Before joining Haas, he was actually involved in rallying and off-road racing. He served as team manager for M Sport Ford World Rally Team, and he also worked with the Red Bull off-road team in the United States.
Quite a diverse career in motorsports. It's interesting to see how his experience in those disciplines may have shaped his approach in Formula One.
Absolutely. From the rough terrains of rallying to the high-speed tracks of Formula One, it's a journey full of fascinating twists and turns. Who knows? His experience in different racing disciplines might just be the ace up his sleeve for the challenges Haas faces. Steiner's take on the speculated sale of the Haas team is quite refreshing. He genuinely admits to having no idea about Gene Haas's plans, and he seems content with not being privy to that information.
It's definitely an interesting dynamic. Steiner's willingness to maintain his focus on his own path, rather than getting too tangled up in the speculation and politics, is commendable.
This also mirrors his thoughts on his own future. He's very clear, stating he won't do something just for the sake of it. If he finds something appealing, he'll do it. If not, he won't.
It's a simple yet powerful philosophy. His approach implies a level of freedom and autonomy that's quite rare, particularly in the world of Formula One.
He's also hinted at a potential return to the paddock in 2024, though it appears he's not in any rush. He wants to breathe some fresh air, as he put it.
A well-deserved breather, I'd say. He's been in the thick of things for quite a while. A little distance might provide some valuable perspective.
Wow. I can't help but think how amazing the world of Formula One is. Such emotions, such competitiveness, such adrenaline. It's quite something, isn't it? What do you reckon, my lovely audience? Are you enjoying the content? Don't forget to hit the like button, all right? I'm absolutely loving these updates, and I hope you are too. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. Let's carry on. Steiner's perspective is truly refreshing. Here's a man who isn't just looking to be a part of Formula One for the sake of it. It's not just about being in the paddock for him. He appears to have a deeper drive, a desire to find something that not only fulfills him, but also brings joy to other people.
His sentiments certainly lend themselves to a broader discussion about the nature of career fulfillment. It's not just about achieving success for oneself, but also about making a positive impact on others.
And I think this is a key takeaway from our conversation about Steiner today, a lesson for all of us, really. It's not just about what we can gain, but what we can give. It's not just about being part of something, but about making a difference in that space.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. It's about striving for a balance, a harmony, if you will, between personal fulfillment and the collective good. And in Steiner's case, how this plays out in his future career choices remains to be seen.
Yes, it will certainly be intriguing to see how his philosophy shapes his next steps, especially given his potential return to the paddock in 2024. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on developments. William, what's cooking in the online world? Got any juicy F1 scoops for us from the fans?
Well, let's see what's brewing. User called Darren Hamilton, 443610, posted, "The race. What if neither Daniel Ricciardo nor Sergio Perez impresses enough to be Max Verstappen's 2025 teammate?" Quite a thought.
Oh, that's interesting. And what's the response been like?
Let's see. A certain Yvonne Lewis, who seems to be a yogurt enthusiast, quipped, "Then my chances of driving for Red Bull go up." This was followed by a response from user Richard Ferraro, who teased, quote, "Found Yuki's burner account," unquote.
Haha, well, we do love a bit of banter.
There's more. User Gold Electric offered their services to Red Bull, quote, "I'm open to drive RB20, have experience karting once. Christian Horner, you can DM me," unquote.
I reckon Christian Horner might have a tough time choosing between all these budding drivers.
It just goes to show the passion of Formula One fans. User George Nixon had a funny take, saying, quote, "Max will just drive both cars," unquote.
Ha! Now that would be a sight to behold.
Yes, indeed. User Jackson Zeman chimed in with, "Or they just drive one car. The dude carried the entire team to victory this year on his points alone." All quite interesting perspectives.
It's clear the fans are quite involved and have their own takes and theories. Keep them coming, William Turner. That's all for today, folks. Thank you all for joining us here on F1 Motor Fever Podcast. Always a pleasure to have you. We've had a fantastic time discussing the intriguing career trajectory of Guenther Steiner and the perspective he brings to the sport. We do hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Please do remember to subscribe to our podcast and hit the notification bell. Your support truly means the world to us. Don't hesitate to spread the word, whether it's on social media or even just casual conversations.
Yes, thanks a million for tuning in. As always, we've got plenty more interesting stuff coming your way, so do make sure you stick around or you'll be missing out. We're on air every day, come rain or shine.
Don't forget to leave a comment as well. We love hearing from you guys. Until next time, then.
Next time? Oh, it's going to be a corker, but no spoilers here. You'll have to join us to find out. Until then, keep the Formula One chat alive.
And remember, pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road. Our channel's content is pure gold. Goodbye for now, everyone.
Cheerio, folks.